Ground sheets are a great way to keep you dry at night, protect your sleeping pad and keep it from getting holes in it, and to just make your gear last a little bit longer. Now there are a lot of options out there. I'm not going to go into all of them in this video, but what I will show you today is a really cheap, amazing ground sheet option that you can make with this simple $10 kit here. We've probably all used Tyvek. It makes a great ground sheet. It's super durable, but it does have downsides. Mostly being that it's actually not waterproof. It's resistant for a time, but as you wear in the Tyvek, it actually can soak water through and actually hold water somewhat like a sponge. Also, Tyvek can get a bit heavy, whereas Polycryo is going to be much lighter, and it has some other great benefits too. Now, Polycryo is a cross-linked plastic that you may be more familiar with as a window treatment. It also turns out that it makes a really great ground sheet for the backcountry. Now you've probably seen Polycryo for sale on Gossamer Gear's website, and I think Mountain Laurel Designs sells it too. But this is a great way to get it easily, and I get this kit off Amazon. The cool thing is, this kit is about $10, and it comes with enough plastic to either make 2 ground sheets for a tarp user, or if you want to make a 2-person ground sheet, or even a ground sheet for your entire tent to cover the footprint of it. You can do that all with this kit because it's pretty huge. The piece of plastic that comes with this is actually 7 feet by 10 feet, so anything that will fit in those dimensions you can create a ground sheet for $10. The plastic itself is a 0.7 mil cross-linked plastic, like I said, so it's very durable and very puncture resistant. The only real downside to Polycryo is if it gets a tear in it, it can really keep tearing, so you do want to stay on top of it, patch those little tears with duct tape, and that will keep them from spreading. Other than that, it's really puncture resistant, and the best part is it's completely waterproof, so it's a great way to set up almost a bathtub floor if you're using a tarp and just keep the wet ground from seeping up into your gear. Really, all you have to do with this sheet of plastic is lay it out on the ground and cut the dimensions you want for your ground sheet. What I do is lay it out 10 feet long. It's 7 feet wide, so I just cut that in half, and I have 2 3.5 by 10 feet long ground sheets. Now, most of your ground sheets are typically cut to around 9 feet long, but having the extra length I've found gives me the ability to actually pull the ground sheet up over my gear on the ends and protect it from the splashes that come in through a tarp. So this actual ground sheet here is my Polycryo that I used for almost all of the CDT, and it's still going strong. It's my go-to one, and I still actually, so I made this from this very kit, and I have my other one that I haven't used yet, because when you have the 10 foot by 7 foot, you can make 2 of them. So my other one is sitting brand new over in a box ready to be used once this one kicks the pan, but this one's still going very strong. And actually Mehap has one that he's used on the PCT and the CDT. And yeah, you'll see some places where we've patched our pads like this with duct tape, but the cool thing is that holds up and the pads are still going, so it adds a little minuscule amount of weight. It's not a big deal. And speaking of weight, alright, so this Tyvek comes in at 125 grams, 4.4 ounces. And like I said, that is 3 feet by 9 feet. This Polycryo comes in at 50 grams or 1.8 ounces. So well under half the weight. A larger sheet, 10 feet by 3.5 feet, and a better performing product as well, except for on durability. Tyvek does have a slight edge up on durability, but Polycryo works very well. Well, I'm not going to insult your intelligence and show you how to cut out a ground sheet. It's pretty basic, but before I go, I will leave you with a few tips. The absolute most important thing when you're cutting out your ground sheet is to make sure you're making very long, straight cuts. You don't want to have any ragged edges or any little mistakes where the ground sheet could potentially start a tear. So when you're doing that, just make sure to kind of go back over your cuts and look for any jagged edges and clean them up and just have one nice even edge on your cut. And if you're making a ground sheet for a tent, my best advice is to pitch your tent and kind of trace the outline with a Sharpie, and then make your cut about 2 inches in from that Sharpie, because you never want a ground sheet to be larger than your shelter, otherwise it sort of acts as a trap for rain. Well, that wraps up the video. If you haven't tried Polycryo, you should really give it a try. It's an amazing ground sheet, it's cheap, and it's super lightweight. It's worked well for me in the past, and I think you might like it. In the comments below, I've left a link to this item on Amazon to buy, and if you do pick it up through my link, you'll be giving me a little kickback and keeping the videos coming, and I would greatly appreciate it. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you found this video useful. See you next time.